Hi everybody! Now, this is my first time doing a video with my actual computer, but we'll try it out. I wanted to do kind of a follow-up because I did a video 8 years ago regarding myasthenia gravis and trying to get pregnant and everything I've been through. And I've gotten some feedback throughout the years. Now, if I remember right, 8 years ago, I would have loved to know any kind of feedback that happened or anything. That's why I put that video out there, is to try and get people to help me with my situation. By the way, this is Edison. He's one of many animals that we have. Anyway, my name is Angela. And just as a follow-up, like I was saying, another recap of myasthenia gravis and trying to get pregnant and being on the medicine I'm on. So, this is year 2021. Oh my God, it's been so crazy, 2020 to 21 with the COVID. And I already know that all you MGers are very concerned about the COVID-19 vaccine and being an MG person. But I have nothing to say about that. I have no opinions right now about that with that. So, but I know that I know it's a concern. Believe me, because it's a big concern for me as far as the vaccine and how would it counteract with us. Anyways, I'm going on tangents. Again, this is me. I go on tangents. My mind is always going 700 different places. So, let's get back. Myasthenia gravis and being pregnant. The year's 2021. I was first diagnosed in 1999, and I was only 18 years old when diagnosed with myasthenia gravis. So, anyways, I had to pause this and go check and come back. Okay, so 1999, I was diagnosed with myasthenia gravis. I was 18 years old. Went through thymectomy. I mean, if you saw the first video, you know the whole story. Went through the thymectomy, went through the multiple plasmapheresis multiple times a week. See my port spots. But look, I look okay. You know, I'm doing all right. Back when I was trying to get pregnant, 13 years ago, back when I was trying to get pregnant, I was on something called Cellcept, which you all know about. The Cellcept doesn't work for everybody, but it worked really good for me, meaning I didn't have to be on the steroids, prednisone anymore. Cellcept worked for me. As it turned out, when I was going to the fertility doctors, they strongly hindered the use of Cellcept because it's a Class D drug, and they suggested putting me on Imuran. Now, that also is a Class D drug, okay? But supposedly it's a less harmful Class D drug for a fetus in a baby. So, nervous situation and nervous idea, but I switched with the consultation of my neurologist. I switched to Imuran. He switched me to Imuran. Now, yada, 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 went through all the fertilities, went through all that crap. I'm going to say it like it is. Went through all that crap. Nothing ever happened. You know, in your mind, you start thinking, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me besides MG? What's wrong with my husband? Husband was checked. He is perfect. Well, you know what I mean. Yeah. But anyway, he was fine. And then, and we have a great relationship. So once you get to know us a little bit, you'll understand why I giggle. Anyway, he was perfect, and I come out, and the fertility doctor said there's nothing wrong with you either. I had my tubes cleaned. I had all sorts of stuff done for me fertility-wise. Now, I found out when I was going to the fertility doctor and when I started seeing a high-risk doctor, because you have to have a high-risk doctor when you have myasthenia gravis. Well, a high-risk doctor is different from a regular OBGYN. Who would have thought? So I learned all this while going to fertility. So I had to have my fertility doctor, my high-risk doctor, and an OBGYN. Oh my gosh, talk about stressful. Anyway, I found out you can't a myasthenia patient cannot use magnesium. So if you want an epidural, so you don't feel most of the pain, they usually always use, sorry about my cat, they usually mostly always use magnesium. Well, an MG patient can't really do magnesium, so if you go in to deliver, you know, you have to make sure you mention multiple times you have MG and blah, 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 blah. You know, I would, mention it multiple times because even though it's in your chart, on your chart, in front of their face, they still don't always pay attention. So just always make sure you remind them, as I found with regular primary care doctors. Anyways, long story short, for another time period. I'm trying not to bore you guys too much. Here nor there, 11 years later, in 2017, July 2017, after my husband and I went on a vacation down to Florida, you know, this whole time, in between all that time, I'm sitting here planning for a vehicle for a family. So I had no fun sports cars, no anything like that. You know, I had my, Ford Escape. Before that I had a truck that had stadium seating, anything that would be good if I would end up having a child. Planning, planning, planning. Well, what if I'm pregnant then? I don't want to go to that concert a year from now because what if I'm pregnant? I don't want to be around that guy. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, my whole life revolved around getting pregnant. That's not a way to live because having fun, you know what I mean, wasn't having fun. Having fun was a chore. Husband was not having fun, and there were so many fights, and and then your brain starts going through different emotions like, oh my god, what if it is because I'm not with the right person, or what if it is because of what I did yesterday, or this or that. I mean, it takes a toll on you emotionally. So if you're struggling with going through any kind of fertility or anything like that, and you need to talk to somebody, definitely talk to um, a therapist, a counselor. They help. Believe me, they help a lot, and there's no shame in it. Being that you have myasthenia gravis now, if you do, you're probably already struggling with everything in your mind anyway. Um, if you're anything like me. Now, I'm not putting a blanket on all MGers, I mean, but if you're anything like me, you're probably struggling deep inside. Now everybody, I have to put this out there, everybody is different. So when I tell you about my experiences, everybody with myasthenia gravis is different. That's why they call it a snowflake illness. Okay, so I could tell you my story and your story could turn out completely opposite. So I'm just doing this as maybe hope for those struggling with myasthenia gravis. Okay, so 2017, we went to Florida, and I said, you know what? I'm done living my life for something that may, I'm doing that a lot today, huh? May happen. And I'm done with it. I even switched positions at my job. I just had a whole kind of like new outlook. I was turning another year older in May at the time. And we went on our vacation at the beginning of May. And we went to Florida. I live in Ohio. I'm not ashamed to tell you all that. I live in Ohio, and we went on vacation to Florida. And we came back, and I started my new position. And then at um, at Father's Day, which is obviously June, I told my husband straight out, I said, I'm so sorry if I cannot make you a baby. And he was always supportive all through it, all through the crappy fertility drugs, everything. We'll talk about that if you want me to another time. In July, I found out I was pregnant. 11 years of trying and trying and trying. And I found out I was pregnant in July. Now, I've never had miscarriages before that. There was no glimmer of hope to be pregnant, but I was pregnant. I was pregnant on Imuran. I was pregnant with Myasthenia Gravis. And those neurologists, they tend to scare you. Oh, you never know. And then the medicine could harm your baby. The medicine could give your baby cleft lip. All of that stuff like that. That's the big thing, really, that the medicine could cause is cleft lip. Or, not just the medicine, having myasthenia gravis, you could get really, really sick with myasthenia gravis. You could have tubes in your throat at the last trimester. You could. Now, you could. Now, are you going to base your life off of a lot of you coulds? Or are you going to base your life off of living? I mean, God gave you life to live. So, now, I'm not saying if you're right now struggling with myasthenia gravis, you probably don't want to try and get pregnant while you're, having to go through all your treatments and all of that stuff. That's you're not healthy then. But there is, believe it or not, in the groups I'm in, myasthenia gravis, you have it your whole life. You have it the rest of your life once you're diagnosed with it. But a lot of the MG patients that are young, like we would be, you know, 18, 17, when you're diagnosed with it, 24, even 28 as a female, I find that once it seems to be under control, it seems to go into remission. I'm just noticing with a lot of, like I said, groups that I'm in and stuff like that, there's always that really, really hard storm before it gets better. Okay, so here nor there. I got pregnant. With my first. My whole entire pregnancy, I felt so good, guys. I don't know if I ever felt that healthy before. Now, of course, the regular aches and pains of pregnancy. No, I didn't have any morning sickness, really. A little queasy, but I never threw up all over the place. And I was always worried I'd have to run to the bathroom while I'm on a phone call at work and stuff like that. No, everything went really, really, really well. First, second, and third trimester with my first pregnancy. Now, I swelled up on my third pregnancy, but it had nothing to do with myasthenia gravis. It seemed like I got some major carpal tunnel syndromes going on in my fingers when I was pregnant in the third trimester with my first pregnancy. And with my feet, they got really big, but had nothing to do with myasthenia gravis. I had a great support system. I had a great fertility doctor who was there with me through the whole thing, even delivered my little boy. That's what I said. Delivered my little boy. My first. Yes, I said that too. My first. And I had him at the age of 38 in 2018. He was healthy and big and healthy. I had him naturally. My fertility doctor knew all about myasthenia gravis. I mean, as soon as I went in the first or second um, ultrasound with my first baby, he knew exactly what to say to me. He knew what kind of medicines I could be on with delivering. He knew about everything. They tested me and they just did. It was great. And you want to make sure if you get pregnant, you find, or even before you get pregnant, you kind of just do some research. You find a great fertility doctor that can help you. Not fertility doctor, excuse me, high risk doctor. Um, like I said, he delivered. Now, with my first, he wasn't sure if my myasthenia gravis would come back and relapse, during delivery. He wanted to make sure that I didn't get too tired. And so they brought out what they call it as a suction. They brought it out, and I had. I'm not going to go into the gory details. If you want to know more, just let me know, and I can make another video. But I went in, got induced the week before my due date. Went in just as pure, uh, a plan. That was a plan. And I went in and I got induced, and my little boy came at 9:18 at night. I got induced at 8 o'clock in the morning and 9:18 at night. And the pushing, and I even had an epidural. I got an epidural, and everything was smooth. Ran, no complications at all with my myasthenia gravis. Nothing, nothing. I felt so good the whole time being pregnant. I always say, I wish I could be pregnant all the time. Just because of the way the hormones or something made me feel. I just felt good, physically, with myasthenia gravis. And as you know, you never feel good with myasthenia gravis, but you hide it well. You know, um, that was my first. That was Benjamin, my first, and he is now 3 years old. And I breastfed him, even with being on Imuran. Now I was on 50 milliliters, 50 milligrams of Imuran. Never had to even touch a plasmapheresis, never had to go up, never had to take steroids during pregnancy, nothing. Nothing. Never had to change my medicine intake. Now, 50 milligrams of Imuran is a very, very low. Actually, it's the lowest dose um, per my neurologist, but they don't want to take me off just in case. So, 50 milligrams of Imuran. Had my baby boy breastfed until he was 18 months. So during all of that time, even his doctor, his pediatrician said, keep on doing it if you want to do it. It's very little, that medicine is very little goes into your breast milk supply. Now, see, when I was trying to get pregnant before, the fertility doctors and all that, they scared the bejesus out of me. So, okay. Now, at 11 months, 10 months, 11 months, I tried for another baby thinking, it took me 11 years. I'm not going to be able to get pregnant again. So, and the whole time I didn't take any kind of birth control because I haven't had to take it for prior to that 11 years. So, I didn't take anything. So in December of after having Benjamin, we tried again and we got pregnant right away. And I was very sick, though. I had mastitis in January, and that's when I found out I was pregnant again. So it was quick. I found out very quickly. And then right after the mastitis, I ended up having strep throat. Somehow or another, I got strep throat. Now, I wasn't working, so I was taking Benjamin to the library days, so maybe I probably picked it up from some of the little kids at the library days or something like that. But I had strep throat as well. So I had mastitis, and then they put me on an antibiotic while I was just found out I'm pregnant. And then I had strep throat, and then they put me on more antibiotic. Oh, it's not going to harm the baby or anything like that. That's what they said. Now, I had to go through a different doctor because my insurance changed. Guys, if your insurance changes, oh my gosh, it's a headache and a half to try and do it all over again. Try to find a new neurologist, try to find a new primary care, try to find everything that's been established for years of your life because I quit work and I stayed home to be with Benjamin, and I have that luxury to be able to do that and stay with my child. So I got pregnant, and then at Benjamin's first birthday, the same week, which was in March, I had to, the baby miscarried. So the same week I had to take care of all of that. Now the baby miscarried and I lost that baby, but it had nothing to do with my myasthenia gravis that I'm aware of or the medicine that I'm aware of. I feel like it was probably from all of the antibiotics that they put me on. Of course, they said, no, 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 no. But I feel it was. Or because I was very, very, very sick, too. So my husband and I decided, well, you know what? When we get the green light to try again, we'll try again. And, if something happens, then, if not, then that's okay, too. We have a beautiful baby boy who's healthy and happy and smart. That kid is smart. Anyway, so in July again, I found out I was pregnant with my second little one. Well, they consider it the third, but my second little one. Same thing. I had a little bit of morning sickness with him and everything. Now, let me back up. And through my miscarriage pregnancy, I was sick, very, very sick. No throwing up sick, but very, very sick. My body just didn't feel right. But again, like I said, my MG never flared up, not even after the miscarriage part of it, going through all of the hormonal changes. Myasthenia gravis was perfect. Myasthenia gravis was perfect. And then July, I found out I was pregnant again. That was in 2019. And again, the pregnancy was so good. Guys, the pregnancy was so good. Um, I mean, there's so much I could tell you about, like, with insurance and how I got back to my high risk doctor and all that stuff. But if you want more, just message me and we can talk. Um, the pregnancy was great. And now I have a 1 year old. He came, yes, that's a second boy. So he came in April, the very beginning of April, and we did the same type of plan, induction and everything. The funny thing is that he came the same day I was supposed to be induced. Everything started taking control naturally on its own before I even got induced. It's like that was his day. He was coming, and I had him at 11 in the morning, 11:21 in the morning. So, like, he said, that's my day. Whether it's my induction day or not, I'm coming. And he is was big. He was 8.5 pounds and 21 inches and big boy. Big boy, still chunky monkey. He's the cutest little butterball you ever did see. He he he's big boy and he's smart. Breastfeeding him. He's a year now, obviously, and it all started during the pandemic. And like I said at the beginning, guys, I'm sorry about the pandemic starting. That was at the very beginning of when we started seeing all that stuff too. So I didn't get my support people. I had my husband to help me deliver, and on top of that, for my high risk doctor, he couldn't deliver the baby because the hospital I went through had changed their process. But he was still in the same hospital, so all the calls were going through him. He just wasn't there to physically deliver my baby because of protocol. But you know what? This one was even better. I didn't even have to have the suction. I didn't. No, let me back up. With Benjamin, I barely. They put the suction on his head, but I did all the work. I 3 times, and the baby was out. Even the doctor was like, "Wow, like you did all the work. We didn't barely have to use that suction at all. You know, they'd had that just for protocol, just in case I needed help from getting tired from my MG, but it never happened." And the same with my second, that we had in last year. And he did wonderfully. And I did wonderfully. And naturally, um, no complications. Had an epidural with him, although I think I probably could have made it because right after I got the epidural, he was out. So I think I could have made it. I just wish they would have checked before they gave me the epidural. Anyways, he came out on a water slide. So because he came out on a water slide, as I say that, they did take some extra pressure. Plus, I think also that having, the COVID happened, they took him to NICU and he stayed in NICU for a little bit. But I was with him the whole time in NICU. I didn't even care about my health or anything like that. But my my high risk, he was with me the whole time too. And he was there making sure I was doing okay because I was caring more about the baby. And I tell you, um, no complications with myasthenia gravis after that one either. Nothing. Nothing. I'm doing great. I look okay. I mean, I'm not saying I look beautiful or anything like that, but I look okay. I have my days. I still don't get any sleep at night because of just having the two babies so close together in age. My 1 year old still has a hard time. I'm really surprised he hasn't woken up hearing me do this, but he still wakes up. But no complications with MG for Logan. Now, both the boys kind of had the jitters. It seemed like about 24 hours after they were born, they both kind of would do this. So I had them check my second, Logan. I had them check him, and it was a big, complicated process with the COVID. I'm telling you, it was a big, complicated. But he was perfectly fine. And Benjamin had the jitters like that at the beginning too. And but it went away. It went away after about 48 hours. Both my babies had jaundice, which is very common with breastfed babies. So that had nothing to do with myasthenia gravis. They say the poor suckling, the babies, they both, I mean, and they both latched right away. So no problems with my suckling, their little mouths or nothing. Um, no, no cleft lip from the medicines or anything like that. And now they both have a mouthful of teeth and everything is coming out perfectly. The only thing is with Logan, and I don't think it has anything to do with the medicines or anything, but when he was uh, home at the beginning stages, he would act like he had trouble breathing, like where he would choke a little bit. And I think I asked his pediatrician about it. He said it didn't have anything to do with like the medicines or anything like that. That some babies are just born with enlarged. If you look in the mirror, I don't remember what it's called. So if you look in the mirror and you open your mouth and go and you see that little dangly thing hanging in the back of your throat, they're born with enlarged, where they kind of have to figure out how to position themselves to be able to breathe. So that's what Logan. But like I said, Logan was a big boy. You know, He's my little chunky monkey, big boy. Um, okay, so I talked your guys' ear off. I'm sorry if I was so bland. The babies are both sleeping and taking their naps, so that's why I'm being quiet. Um, if you have any questions, and like I said, now I'm a year after having Logan, and I'm still good with my myasthenia gravis. And I mean, as you know, hospitals are doing video conferences, and my neurologist hasn't had me have to come in for any kind of, where they push on your arms and, your neck and everything like that. Oh, good news too is I started going back to Cedar Point, which is a roller coaster park, and I've been doing all the roller coasters, and my neck is great. I couldn't do that back in 2000 and for about 5 years. So, I mean, guys, if you still made it through with this video 27 minutes later and you're still listening to me gibber and jabber, there is a light. There is light at the end of the tunnel. There is light. I promise. There's light. Always try as hard as you can to be positive. It's so hard. It is so hard. And you want to give up some days and some weeks and some months and some years. You just want to give up. But I'm proof. But I know that everybody's different. But I'm proof that you can have a normal life eventually. Okay? I hope and I wish all my prayers are with you guys that you all turn out well in all of your endeavors and everything are how you want them eventually. You might have to make some adjustments. I had to. And then once you realize that they're not so bad, those adjustments, then maybe, just maybe, you can start having a normal life again. So, baby wishes for you if you're watching this for luck, or not luck, if you're watching this for any kind of hope. That's the word, hope. Baby wishes for you, blessings, baby dust, those things that people say. And if you have any questions for me, comment on the video below. But sometimes I don't get those messages. And I hate that the last couple of them were like years ago. And, or message me. If you don't hear from me, message me through my channel, and I for sure will get that message. And then we can get together and talk about things. Okay? I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you my experience. Good luck, everybody. Mwah. Keep up with the good work.